Ammon Hillman, Jesus Christ and the Chemical Muse. A Controversial Exploration Part 1. Ever wondered if there's more to the story of Christ than what we've been told? Prepare to have your perceptions challenged as we delve into the controversial work of Ammon Hillman. Ammon Hillman, a scholar with a background in religious studies and chemistry, has stirred significant debate with his unconventional theories. His work centers around the intersection of spirituality, consciousness, and the potential influence of psychoactive substances. This video explores Hillman's central thesis, that the experiences and narratives surrounding Christ may have been influenced by the use of substances capable of altering consciousness. This is a highly sensitive topic, and we approach it with respect for all viewpoints. We'll examine Hillman's arguments, the evidence he presents, and the criticisms leveled against his work. Our goal is to provide a balanced and informative overview, encouraging critical thinking and open discussion. Hillman's central thesis proposes that certain experiences attributed to Christ, or at least the narratives surrounding him, may have been shaped by the use of substances. He suggests these substances could have facilitated altered states of consciousness. The chemical muse, as Hillman terms it, refers to the potential role of psychoactive compounds in inspiring religious experiences and artistic expression. He believes these substances could have acted as catalysts for spiritual insight. It's crucial to clarify that Hillman's argument doesn't necessarily claim Christ himself directly used these substances. Rather, he explores the possibility that their presence and influence shaped the cultural and religious landscape of the time. Hillman's interpretation is undeniably unconventional, challenging traditional religious perspectives. It's essential to approach his work with an open mind, acknowledging the potential for both insight and controversy. Hillman builds his argument on a foundation of historical analysis, biblical interpretation, and pharmacological understanding. He attempts to connect these disparate fields to support his controversial claims. According to Hillman, the Christ is a title, it's a pharmaceutical term in Greek. To Christian means to put drugs in your eyes. Hillman meticulously examines the historical context of Christ's time, focusing on the availability and use of various substances. He explores the prevalence of plants and compounds with psychoactive properties in the ancient world. He analyzes trade routes and cultural practices, highlighting the potential for these substances to have been readily accessible in the regions where Christianity emerged. This historical backdrop forms a crucial part of his argument. Hillman points to evidence of ritualistic use of certain plants and fungi in ancient cultures, suggesting a potential link between these practices and early religious experiences. He argues that these practices could have influenced the development of religious narratives. Hillman offers unique interpretations of specific biblical passages, suggesting they may allude to altered states of consciousness. He focuses on passages describing visions, ecstatic experiences, and encounters with the divine. Hillman connects these passages to the potential effects of psychoactive substances, arguing that they could have induced the experiences described in the text. He acknowledges that this is a speculative interpretation, but one he believes warrants consideration. He emphasizes the symbolic language and metaphorical nature of biblical texts, suggesting that they may contain hidden references to altered states of consciousness. This approach challenges traditional literal interpretations of Scripture. Hillman provides specific examples of substances that he believes could have played a role in shaping religious experiences. He discusses plants like cannabis, opium poppies, and certain types of mushrooms. He explains how these substances might induce altered states of consciousness, including heightened sensory perception, feelings of euphoria, and visionary experiences. He links these experiences to the potential for spiritual insight and artistic expression. Hillman argues that these substances could have acted as catalysts for religious revelation, providing individuals with a sense of connection to the divine. He emphasizes that this is just one possible interpretation, but one that deserves further exploration. Hillman's work is inherently controversial, challenging deeply held religious beliefs and raising ethical concerns. It's important to acknowledge and address these criticisms. The most controversial theory, according to Hillman, are that the apostles were not old men with beards, when in actuality they were young boys. Hence, why he always referred to his apostles as children. The arrest of Jesus at the Garden of Gethsemane was not due to betrayal. The passage translated by Hillman, Mark 14:51. A young boy was assigned to him, having wrapped his genitals with a medicated bandage, and they arrested him. Hillman's work directly contradicts certain doctrines and interpretations within traditional Christianity. His suggestion that substances may have influenced religious experiences is seen by some as undermining the divine origin of faith. His ideas are potentially offensive to those who hold strong religious viewpoints, as they challenge the sanctity and authority of Scripture. It's crucial to approach this topic with sensitivity and respect for differing beliefs. The core of the conflict lies in the question of whether spiritual experiences are solely divinely inspired, or if they can be influenced by other factors, including psychoactive substances. This is a fundamental point of contention. Critics argue that Hillman's historical analysis is speculative and lacks conclusive evidence. They question whether the availability of certain substances necessarily implies their use in religious contexts. His biblical interpretations are also subject to criticism, with some arguing that he selectively interprets passages to fit his thesis. They suggest that alternative explanations for the experiences described in the Bible are more plausible. The lack of direct evidence linking specific substances to specific religious experiences is a major challenge to Hillman's argument. Critics argue that his claims are based on circumstantial evidence and conjecture. The discussion of psychoactive substances raises ethical concerns, particularly regarding their potential for misuse and abuse. It's important to emphasize the potential dangers associated with these substances. There's also the risk of misinterpretation or misuse of Hillman's ideas, with some potentially using them to justify irresponsible or harmful behavior. It's crucial to promote responsible and informed discussion of this topic. The impact on faith and belief systems is another ethical consideration. Hillman's work could potentially undermine the faith of some individuals, while others may find it to be a source of new understanding. Hillman often cites examples of ancient mystery cults and shamanistic traditions as potential parallels to his theories about early Christianity. He points to the use of psychoactive substances in these practices as evidence of their potential role in religious experiences. He provides detailed analyses of specific biblical passages, such as the story of the burning bush or the transfiguration of Jesus, suggesting they could be interpreted as descriptions of altered states of consciousness. Hillman also discusses the specific chemical properties of certain substances, explaining how they might affect the brain and induce spiritual experiences. He emphasizes the importance of understanding the pharmacological effects of these substances. Common counterarguments to Hillman's claims include the assertion that spiritual experiences are purely divine in origin and cannot be explained by material factors. Critics also argue that his interpretations of Scripture are biased and lack historical support. Hillman responds to these counterarguments by emphasizing the complexity of human consciousness and the potential for multiple factors to influence spiritual experiences. He argues that his work is not intended to undermine faith, but rather to offer a new perspective on the relationship between consciousness and spirituality. Expert opinions on Hillman's work are divided, with some scholars supporting his interdisciplinary approach and others criticizing his speculative interpretations. The debate surrounding his work continues to this day. Hillman's intended audience appears to be those interested in exploring alternative perspectives on religion and spirituality. He aims to challenge conventional wisdom and encourage critical thinking about the nature of faith. This video has the potential to spark significant controversy, given the sensitive nature of the topic. However, it also offers the potential for a more nuanced and informed discussion about the role of consciousness in religious experience. Hillman's work offers a new perspective on understanding religion and spirituality, suggesting that altered states of consciousness may have played a more significant role in their development than previously thought. It challenges existing beliefs and encourages a re-evaluation of traditional interpretations. Hillman views the relationship between consciousness and spirituality as deeply intertwined, suggesting that altered states can provide access to profound spiritual insights. He doesn't necessarily suggest that altered states are necessary for spiritual insight, but that they may offer a unique pathway to understanding. Ammon Hillman's overall message is that the history of religion and spirituality may be more complex and nuanced than we currently understand. He encourages us to consider the potential role of psychoactive substances in shaping religious experiences and narratives. We've reiterated the controversial nature of his work throughout this video. It's crucial to remember that his ideas are not universally accepted and should be approached with critical thinking. The importance of critical thinking cannot be overstated. It's essential to evaluate Hillman's arguments, consider alternative perspectives, and draw your own conclusions based on the available evidence. Ultimately, the potential impact of Hillman's ideas is to broaden our understanding of the human experience and the complex relationship between consciousness, spirituality, and culture. Call to action. What do you think? Dive deeper into Ammon Hillman's work, research the history of psychoactive substances, and engage in respectful discussions with others. Share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content. End screen with credits and related resources.